the disease manifestation, the doshas has to pass through different stages of pathology. Okay. And whenever we tell that the Kriya Kala or the different manifestations of the disease of the pathological stages, where there are six such pathological stages are or the doshas are explained here. Okay, so wherein whenever the doshas in a normal state, which is in a normal state, is undergoing a doshas up to the full blown disease. That means with this we are getting the knowledge of the pathological stages or a normal state of doshas up to the full blown disease. So that is called as the kriya kala. So with this kriya kala we will get the knowledge of the extent of the doshic vitiation, severity of the disease, and thereby we can plan the treatment, and that also it will give you the hint of the prognosis of a disease. Okay, so we get the reference of this kriya kala in Shushruta Samhita Sutrasthana Vranaprashna Adhyaya Ashtanga Sangraha Sutrasthana Doshopakramaniya Adhyaya Ashtanga Hridaya Sutrasthana Dosha Bediya Adhyaya. And as the word kriya kala is having two different words, that is kriya means action or the treatment and kala means the time. That means kriya kala, the word meaning gives you the meaning that the kriya kala means it is the proper action to be taken in a particular stage of the disease, manifestation of a disease. So here we get two types of kriya kala, usually that is rutu kriya kala and vyadhi kriya kala. So rutu kriya kala means that is this particular stage is the doshas will undergo the natural fluctuations during the different seasons. For example, vata dosha in its in the Grishma Rutu it will have the Chaya, and in the Varsha Rutu it will have its Prakopa, and in the Sharad Rutu it will have its Prashama. So this is the natural physiological process which will happen in the dosha vitiation. So that is naturally it will happen. It's a Chaya, Prakopa, Prashama. So but why Vyadhi Kriya Kala means, so instead of Vata getting Prashama in the Sharad Rutu, but still further its indulgence, maybe the person with the Mityahara Vihara, and because of the environmental changes, before undergoing the Prashama, still in the further the Vata dosha is getting vitiated, then it will be manifesting into the disease process. So that is why it is called as the Vyadhi Kriya Kala. So this particular Vyadhi Kriya Kala up to one stage, that is Snchya, Prakopa, Prasara, that we can divide into the Dosha Kriya Kala, wherein Sthana Samshraya, Vyakti, Veda will be the Vyadhi Kriya Kala. I think, hope it is clear. So Rutu Kriya Kala is the one wherein the normally the doshas will undergo the different physiological or the doshic vitiation. So that is naturally it happens and naturally it will have its own remission. But in case of Vyadhi Kriya Kala, when the same the doshas which is aggravated will not undergo the prashama, but with the further indulgence in the ahara viharas, it will undergo the disease manifestation. So that will be leading to the Vyadhi Kriya Kala. Okay, so as I told, Vyadhi Kriya Kala we can divide, that is dosha avastha and the Vyadhi avastha. Okay, so dosha, that is Snchya, Prakopa, Prasara. So that is normally we will get. So and then the Sthana Samshraya, Vyakti and Veda. Okay. So coming to the six stages, as I told you, Snchya means that is a stage of accumulation of the doshas. And Prakopa means the excitation of the doshas. Prasara means spreading of the doshas. Sthana Samshraya means localization of the doshas. Vyakti is the manifestation of the full-blown disease, as well as Veda means the complication stage. So with this only we will have a complete idea of this six pathological stages. As I told, Snchya means somewhere there starts the dosha will be start getting its accumulation because of the Mityahara Vihara sometimes, or it may be because of the natural vitiation of the doshas. So similarly Prakopa. So once the Snchya, we are not stopping our Mityahara Vihara, or the Naisargika or the Avastika changes will not have its own stop, then it will be leading to the next stage, that is Prakopavastha. Even the Prakopavastha also, once there will be the doshas will have its own natural prashama in the next stage. So if it is not occurring in that particular stage, then the next stage will continue. That is called as the Prasaravastha, wherein the excited doshas leave its own sthana and it will be spreading to the other parts of the body or other through the channels. And in this particular stage also, if we are not stopping the disease, then it will enter into the sthana samshraya or the localization of the doshas. As we know, wherever the kavai gunya is there, the doshas will have its own, it will settle down and create the different diseases. And the next one is, still we are not having the particular, the remission or the treatment or even the diet we are not following. Next stage is, that is the complete manifestation of a disease called as the vyakta or vyakti, that is the full blown disease. And even still this particular stage also not comprehensively managed, and then still further vitiation of the doshas will lead to the complication stage. Now we will see one by one what are the different stages of the diseases. Okay. So coming to the first stage, I think I am audible, Dr. Anjana, or any students? Am I audible?
Ma'am.
Yeah. So coming to the Snchya stage, so we'll see what is the Snchya here. That is, the Nirukti says Samhati Rupa Vradhischayaha. So Sanchaya or Chaya. Chaya means actually it is the Vradhi of the doshas. So but this Vradhi is in its own sthana. That's why it is told Samhati Rupa Vradhischaya. That means the compactness or the compact accumulation of the doshas in its own sthana. If it is loosely arranged, what will happen? It will come out from that particular sthana, isn't it? So it is compactly arranged. Here the Vradhi is there, but the arrangement of the Visheta doshas in a compact manner, so that it is there in the there or it is present in its own sthana. That is called as Samhati Rupa Vriddhi Chayaha. Actually here Vriddhi is happening, but it is only the accumulation happens here. Okay. And the next Nirukti tells Sanchaya Swasthana Vriddhi. That means the Sanchaya means it is in the Swasthana. That is the gradual accumulation occurs at the Dosha Sthana itself. Okay. And here Dosha Sthana means we know very well. That is Tatrasti Nisito Vayu Pittam Tu Sveda Raktayoho Sleshma Shesheshu. Like for example, Vata Chaya is means it will be there in the Asti, etc. Isn't it? So similarly, Sanchaya Swasthana Vriddhi. The gradual accumulation occurs in the dosha sthana. Then he is telling sanchiyate doshaha. Once again, the dosha get collected or accumulated in their own sthana. Another nirukti tells chayo vriddhihi swadhamneha. Once all these different nirukti will give the same meaning. That means the increased doshas in their own sthana is termed as sanchaya. Okay. Or the compact accumulation of the vitiated dosha is called as sanchaya or the chayavastha of the doshas. So we'll see how the chayavastha occurs or why there is a chaya. Okay. So what is the treatment, the principle here for the chaya? So we know that samanyam vriddhi karanam. Samanyam vriddhi karanam means similar qualities will aggravate the doshas. So here what happens? Whenever the person indulges in the similar qualities, for example, Vata Prakriti person having the Vatakara Ahara Vihara and the particular season also, maybe it is a Grishma Rutu, then there will be Chaya of the doshas. That means there will be Vriddhi of the things, isn't it? That's why Samanyam Vriddhi Karanam. The similar qualities will aggravate the doshas. So here Chayavastha is of two types. So it may be a Swabhavika or Kala Parinamajanya, or it may be Aswabhavika. Okay. So once again I'll tell you Swabhavika and Aswabhavika Sanchaya. Okay. So what is Swabhavika means? As I told you previously, that is the natural fluctuation of the doshas. This is because of Kala Parinamajanya. So it may be like a Avastika or it may be Naisargika. Avastika means daily changes of the doshas, or according to the vaya the doshas will get changed, or it may be seasonal. Okay. And the other one is aswabhavika. This is because of the our own mistakes, maybe because of the environmental disaster or maybe because of the prajnaparada or maybe because of the Asatmendriyartha Sanyoga. So we'll see what is the Swabhavika. Here Swabhavika, we will have two things, that is Avastika Kala and Naisargika. So Avastika means, this is very well known quotation once again, that is Vayo Ahoratri Bhuktanam Te Antamadhyadigaha Kramat. So here it's very clearly, this gives a hint that Vata, Pitta and Kapha will have its fluctuation according to the Ayu, Dina, Ratri, Bhojana, etc. So, for example, Vata in the Vruddhavastha, it will get its Vriddhi or the Visheshan. And in Pitta, in its Yavvanavastha, it will have its peak. Similarly, Kapha, in the Balyavastha, you can see the Kapha nature, isn't it? So, similarly, the Vata will have its the predominance in the Sandhya Kala, Pitta in the Madhyana, Kapha in the Prata Kala. And Vata in the Ratri, it is in the Antima Prahara of Ratri, and Pitta in the Madhya Ratri, and Kapha in the Pratama Prahara. And similarly, coming to the Bhojana, so the after the food, the Paripakva Avastha, the Vata will be having its predominance. And in case of Pitta, it is in the Pachamana Avastha, that is during the Jirna Avastha, and Kapha in the Ama Avastha, that is initially after taking the food, there will be the Kapha predominance will be there. So this is how the Avastika Kala or Vayo Ahoratri Bhuktanam, Vaya, Aha, Ratri and Bhukta. So how the dosha have its own predominance, okay, in this particular stages. So coming to the Naisargika Kala, we know Chaya Prakopa Prashamaha, Vayur Grishmadishu Tishu, Vashradishu Pittasya, Shleshmanaha, Shishiradishu. So for example, the Vata dosha have its Chayavastha in the Grishma Rutu, its Prakopa in the Varsha Rutu, and its Prashama in the Sharad Rutu. That means the Vata which got its Chaya in the Grishma Rutu will have in the Varsha Rutu, because of the Shitata, it will have its Visheshan. And natural, it will get its remission in the Sharad Rutu because of the intense heat, right? So similarly, Pitta, it will have its Chaya in Varsha Rutu because of the Shitata, and Sharad Rutu because of the intense sunlight, it will have its what you call the Prakopa, and in Hemanta because of Shitata, it will have its natural remission. So here we can understand that the natural fluctuation of doshas will have the natural remission also. So whenever the disease process will progress because of the Mityahara Vihara, what we are, then we will be continuing it. So that is why we have the Aswabhavika Chaya of the doshas like the Mityahara Vihara, Asatmendriyartha Sanyoga and Prajnaparata. Hope it's clear. Anybody is having any doubt here? Anyone is having the doubt? Otherwise, this is very clearly like no, in your Roganidana, you will study this very clearly, and even the further all other, even Charaka also while reading, you might have come across all these things, and even Ashtanga Hridaya also, isn't it? So I think it's very clear to understand. Okay. But here there is one more thing. So why there is a Chaya in this particular Rutu? For example, now Vata dosha is there. So why Vata dosha will get the Chaya in the Grishma Rutu? For that, the Ashtanga Hridaya Sutra Sthana clearly it tells that Ushnena Yukta Rukshadya Vayoho Kurvanti Sanchayam. The Vata gets its Chaya Avastha if Ruksha etc. gunas of Vata combines with the Ushna guna. So here we will see, for example, the Ruksha guna of Vata may be 50%, maybe a Vata Prakriti person. So 50% of the Vata is there in him, and he is taking some Ruksha Ahara Vihara, so that it is, for example, 50%. So 50 plus 50, it should become 100, right? But then it will become in the Grishma Rutu, it should become a Prakopa, but it will not happen a Prakopa. Why? Means in the Grishma Rutu, there is a Ushna guna. So Ushna is the opposite quality to Vata, isn't it? So what happens? So this 50-50 will become 75 become because of the influence of Ushna guna of the Grishma Rutu. I think I am clear or not making you confused. So this is very important formula to understand why there is a Vata Chaya. That means the Vata Prakriti, for example, in the next the quotation you can see there, the Chiyate लघुरूक्षादिभिर् औषधिभिः समीरणः तद्विदस्ते देहे कालस्य औष्ण्य न कुप्यति. So this is even for the PG students are here. That's why I am telling This quotation may not be much useful for the UG students, but to understand this more importantly or properly, this particular quotation will help you. Chiyate, that means there is chaya because of Lagurukshadibir Oshadibhi Samiranaha. So, because of the Aushada or whatever the environmental factors, as well as the Laguruksha Guna, which is there in uh, the particular environment or in the Aushadi surrounding it, and in the Prakriti, Tadvidas Tadvide Dehe, that means the Vata Prakriti person, isn't it? And Kalasya Aushnyat na Kupyati. So now you can see here the dominant gunas according to the Prakriti, maybe the Laguruksha Guna, and indulgence in the same gunas. Okay, that is the Vata Pradana Laguruksha Guna. Then Ushna Guna of the Grishma. So here the two things become 50 plus 50, 100. But because of the Ushna Guna of Grishma, which will have an influence of these two gunas, will lead to the Vata Chaya. Okay, so this is how the Vata before means then undergoing Prakopa, how it will become the Vata Chaya here. Okay, so similarly Pitta Chaya. So Pitta Chaya also Odbir Amla Vipakabir Oshadi Bishcha Tadrishat Pittam Yati Chayam Kopam Natu Kalasya Shaityataha. Actually, what happens actually, one thing you may be knowing, in the Varsha Rutu, actually the Tridosha Prakopa will be there. Okay, so that is a little apart from this, but that is the one thing because of the Varsha, suddenly because of the what happens usually, the Bhumi after the Grishma Rutu will have the complete, hot in the hot, isn't it? So once there is a sudden falling of Varsha, what happens? Because of the sudden cooling, that will be Amla amla amlata will be more in the bhumi. So that is why the totally there will be tridosha prakopa will be there. Okay, but otherwise also the here the vata prakopa will be there, wherein the pitta will have its chaya here. Okay, so that's why he is telling here that here what happens, the dominant gunas of the pitta prakriti person. So pitta prakriti person will be having the certain the hot in they will be having the what you can call the excessive hunger or something like, isn't it? So the hot gunas, isn't it? So that or the tikshna or the ushna gunas will be there, and he will be indulged in the same gunas like the tikshna ushna gunas. But what happens there? There is a shita guna of the varsha. So these two things will become 100, 50 plus 50. But here the shita guna, which will have a direct influence of these gunas. So instead of going for pitta prakopa, here the pitta chaya will happen. Hope I am clear here. Okay. So similarly, the uh, kapha. So what happens to kapha? So kapha actually in the Shishira Rutu, it will have its chaya. Okay. In the Shishira Rutu, it will have its chaya. How the chaya will happen here? He's telling very clearly, Chiyate snigdha shitadibir. Odaka औषधिभिः कफः तुल्ये अपि काले देहे च स्कन्नत्वात् न प्रकुप्यति. So this is very important. Here the dominant gunas of the according to the prakriti may be a snigdha shita gunas and indulging in the same snigdha shita gunas. And here what happens? So it is not like vata and pitta, but it is something different here. Here also shita guna of shishira rutu. So because here Shishta Rutu of Shishira Rutu, what happens instead of going for the Prakopa of Kapha here, what happens? Still the Shita Guna will have more influence on this particular Kapha and it will undergo Skannatva. What do you mean by Skannatva? Means it is the solidification. For example, you might have seen the ghee or the other some oil products which will become, which is in the bottle when it is in the Shita Kala like the Shishira and the Hemanta Rutu, how it will become solidifies. Here also, the even though the kapha here the vriddhi is there, still because of the environmental shitata, instead of getting prakopa, here the kapha solidifies. So it will not have it will not show any signs and symptoms here. It will just solidifies. That's why he's telling tulye api kale dehe cha skannatvat na prakupyati. So before, instead of becoming prakopa of the this particular kapha, there will be because of the tulya deha and tulya kala, that is shita rutu, isn't it? So it will become stannatva or the solidifies. So that is how the kapha chaya will happen. So now coming to the complete the lakshanas. So here he is telling satra संचितानां खलु दोषाणां स्तब्धपूर्णकोष्ठता पीतावभासता mandaushmata changanam gauravam alasyam. So that means here there are some signs and symptoms will start under, happening here in the particular sanchaya. So that is the utility we have to make here. In the for example vata sanchaya, there will be stabda koshtata or purna koshtata. That means feeling of fullness in the abdomen or feeling of what you can call some of the stiffness in the abdomen. So stabda koshtata and purna koshtata. Okay. So this happens. So the patient will tell you, or they will be telling you about the complete this particular dullness of abdomen or the feeling of fullness of abdomen. Then you have to understand. So what is the prakriti of the person? So what is his diet he might have undergone, or what may be the particular environment. Now you will understand this particular utility of the chaya avastha of vata. So you will here itself you will understand that means here the vata dosha has started its aggravation. So now it is in the chaya avastha. So what I have to give to the particular the medication. So here itself you can stop the further progression of the disease or the dosha vitiation. So similarly pitta will have its the different symptoms like the pitavabhasata and mandoshmata. So because of the chaya here. Similarly kapha sanchaya so here that is anga gaura. So mandoshmata is for the it is actually wrongly typed here. So it is for the pitta itself. For the kapha, it is anga gaurava and alasya. Okay, it is. So I'm sorry for this. The manda ushmata, it is for the pitta avabhasata, and manda ushmata for the pitta sanchaya lakshana. Wherein kapha sanchaya, you see the anga gaurava and alasya. When the patient comes to you, you can with the not having any other signs and symptoms, but just they will be telling, I always feel something like a very laziness or heaviness in the body. Then you have to understand that here the kapha started getting its accumulation. So the naturally the person also will have this feeling, and they will be having something like a opposite craving. For example, he is telling very clearly chayo vriddhi swadhamneva pradvesho vriddhi hetushu viparita gunecha. So chayo vriddhi here in this sanchaya, the vriddhi is in the form of very accumulator, the compact manner in its own sthana. So what happens, whatever the particular ahara or the vihara which is cause for the vriddhi of this type will have the opposite guna, or that means they will have a aversion towards such hetu or karana, as well as they will have a the what you can call the next or the craving for the viparita guna food or the environment. Okay, so here this feature of avastha wherein vriddhi hetushu pradvesha, aversion or dislikes towards the articles or the regimen causing the dosha vriddhi, and viparita gunecha, that is liking towards the article or the regimen which are having the opposite qualities or the to the nidana. I think it is clear. Okay, this is the sanchaya lakshanas. So here that's what once again I wanted to conclude here, that is sabda koshtata, purna koshtata for vata, pitta, pitava bhasata and mandoshmata, kapha, anga gaurava and alasya. And all these things wherein they will be having viparita gunecha. So opposite, for example, vata they will be having for you know the liking towards the Ushna guna, pitta for shita guna, like that. And pradvesha vriddhi hetushu. For example, some ruksha items will be might have the cause for the vata. They will have aversion towards such things. Okay, so that is the thing. So what is the importance of knowing sanchaya here? So by seeing or by knowing the sanchaya avastha, the first and foremost thing is, so here the sanchaye apahrita dosha labante na uttaragatihi tetu uttarasugatishu bhavanti balavataraha. That means by understanding this sanchaya, when you do the apahrita dosha, that means by advising a proper diet or a regimen or giving some simple treatment, we can stop the further aggravation of the doshas. That's why it is called as prathama kriya kalaha adhya karmavasaraha. So this is the particular point we have to intervene. Okay, so with the maybe with the modification of the diet or regimen or some simple treatment. So what he's telling is sanchaya aparata dosha. Once the vitiated doshas, once we treat in this particular stage, it will not have its uttaragati, or it will not go for the further disease process. And The progress may be halted here itself, and if not treated, when they progress to further stages, they again gain more strength and become more intense, and thus making the treatment more difficult. The second line tells the same thing, that is tetu uttarasu gateshu bhavanti balavataraha. If we are not treating in this particular stage, the particular dosha will be having more strength with the more indulgence in the same nidana. Okay, and I think you might have understood what is sanchaya now. So coming to the prakopa avastha. Okay, I think am I audible? Am I clear? Any doubt?
Yeah, doctor, you're audible.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'll go to the second kriya kala, that is the prakopa avastha. Okay, so here what happens? The different nirukti you can see here, that is Vilayana Rupa Vriddhischayah. We have seen the previous quotation like the Samhati Rupa Vriddhihi Prakopa. Both are Vriddhi only. But the Sanchaya Avastha, that was the Samhati Rupa. That is the compact, isn't it? Compactness was there. And here, that is Vilayana Rupa Vriddhihi Prakopa. Now, what happened? The Vilayana Rupa, that means the accumulation is further grown up, isn't it? So now the particular sthana is not enough to capable of or holding the Vriddha doshas. Now what happens? Now it will have its own, no, it will be now start to come up from their start or leave their own place. Okay, so that is called as dissolution or dissemination or movement of the doshas from their own sthana. Okay, Kopastu Unmargagamita. That means the movement of the doshas leaving their own main locations. So Kopastu Unmargagamita. That means it is now ready to move out from their doshas. So why means it is now it cannot hold itself in the doshas, because now the quantitative and qualitative increase of the doshas you can see here. Okay, and in these stages, the doshas are ready to leave their sthana and exhibits its prakupita lakshanas. Okay, so and this is for the next, what are the next disease which is going to manifest. So the very mild symptoms it may manifest here itself. So he's telling in the next nirukti, he's telling Swamargat anyena margena gamanam kopaha, movement of dosha in other than their primary loci. So it will leave its sthana, it will go and it will lodge in the sthanas of other doshas. Okay, and swasthanam tyaktva doshasya yat punaha margantara gamanam sa kopaha iti uchyate, movement of dosha in the other loci by leaving their own primary loci. Okay, so why this is means here the vriddhi is quantitatively as well as qualitatively increased, so that the sthana, the own sthana cannot hold now, so it will start moving from its sthana. Okay, and we'll see what are the different prakopa here. Okay, so the prakopa, again there are two types of prakopa here, that is swabhavika prakopa as well as aswabhavika, where we have seen in case of sanchaya avastha also. So the natural fluctuation of the doshas, wherein there are two types of prakopa other than this, that is chaya purvaka prakopa and achaya purvaka prakopa. So wherein chaya purvaka means first there will be accumulation of doshas. For that purpose, we need the sanchaya avastha to come, then prakopa. Okay, so there will be chaya of doshas or accumulation of doshas. Later there will be aggravation. Okay, and the other one wherein the achaya purvaka prakopa, wherein there is no chaya, there is no previous accumulation of doshas. Suddenly there is a right away there is a aggravation of the doshas. For example, I'll tell you. For example, today you are taking ice cream. Okay, today you are taking ice cream, and the next day you are getting sneezing or sometimes sore throat. Okay, little bit cough, etc., and little bit feverishness. So that is that for this the reason is yesterday you have taken some ice cold things, isn't it? So that is the achaya purvaka prakopa, wherein chaya purvaka prakopa you need a continuous accumulation of doshas. For example, some skin diseases. So skin diseases, apart from the allergic reactions or anaphylactic reactions, other things are, it will be, for example, the psoriasis or the kitiba kushta or some other things, isn't it? So they will be having its chaya since many long time. For example, cancer, isn't it? So it will have its accumulation of dosha since a long time, and after certain time it will show its aggravation. So So here, what is important here is how will you understand this particular stage? After understanding, how will you treat the disease? If it is a Chaya Purvaka Prakopa, that means a long run of Sanchaya, then Prakopa, then your treatment will go for a Shodhana therapy. If it is an Achaya Purvaka Prakopa, suddenly there is an aggravation of doshas, then you will go for a Shamana therapy. So this is how this particular uh, Kriya Kala we have to understand and intervene here. Okay. So here once again I wanted to tell you what are the reason for dosha prakopa. Okay. So for here the dosha will have its swabhavika prakopa, the vata dosha, that is shitena yukta rukshadyaha kopam vayoha kurvati. Okay. You can see here already the ruksha guna the person will be there and shita guna of the here the varsha rutu, isn't it? It's the vata prakopa will be there. So if you see here vayu pravrit kale varsha kale cha prakupyati, that means vata will have its natural prakopa in the pravrit kala or the varsha kala. Okay, so pravrit means that is the another rutu wherein we know that is the northern India and southern India will be having a a remarkable this thing, wherein the northern India there will be more of Shita Rutu or Shishira will be more, wherein Pravrit Rutu in the southern region, isn't it? That means the Ganga river will be taken as the demarcation here. So below the Ganga, the southern to the Ganga, there will be Pravrit Rutu will be more. Okay. So what happens here? Already there is a chaya of Vata dosha from the Grishma Rutu, and here the Prakriti of the person is also Vata. Still the Shita Guna of Varsha Rutu, and the person also will be indulging in the same, and there will be Vata Prakopa. So this is what how the Vata Prakopa happens. And the Aswabhavika Karanas, Ahara, Katutikta, Kashaya Rasa Sevana, Laguruksha, Guna Shaka, and Manasika like Bhaya, Shoka, etc. And the Vihara like Langana, Ativyayama, Ativyavaya, Ati Adhyayana, Ratri Jagarana, all these things will be leading to the further vitiation of the Vata dosha, leading to the Vata Prakopa. Okay. So what happens here? Naturally, it will have its remission in the next Rutu, but in further indulgence of these things, it will have the further vitiation of the doshas. Coming to the Pitta dosha, so here also already there is Pitta Chaya in the previous Rutu, that is in the Grishma Rutu, and in the intense heat of Sharad Rutu, the Chaya already the Sanchita Pitta with the intense heat of sunlight, what happens here? Further, the Pitta will have its hot potency will improve, increased, and the Pitta Prakopa will be there. Okay. And Arka Rashmi bihi Pittam Prayaha Sharadi Kupyati. So that's why the intense heat of Arka Rashmi or the Surya Kirana will have the environmental change or the direct influence on the Sanchita Pitta, causing the Pitta Prakopa. Okay. Pittam Sharad Kale Prakupyati. So these are the different quotations. Okay. And Aswabhavika Karana Katuamla Lavana Rasa Sevana, Upavasa Atapa Sevana, and the Manasika Vikara like Krodha. And here in case of aswabhavika prakopa, the dosha may enter into the prakopa avastha directly by skipping the chaya avastha. So this is what I have told you previously, the example of ice cream like. Okay. So whenever the prakopa avastha is there, it may not undergo the chaya avastha. It will directly come into the prakopa avastha. Similarly, kapha dosha, Sleshma gets its prakopa in the Vasanta Rutu. That means Sleshma Vasantecha Prakupyati. Okay. So here already there is a chaya or the condensed kapha accumulation is there in the Shishira Rutu, but in the Vasanta Rutu there will be Ushna Guna. That means because there will be in this particular Vasanta Rutu there will be intense sunlight will be there, and this will be calling the Vilayana or the solidified kapha will gets Vishyanda. So that means it will become the Vilayana Rupa, or it will be liquefaction of the kapha happens here. For example, the whatever the ghee which is solidified in the Shishira Rutu, in the what you can call in the very Shita Rutu, it will get in the when there is a sunlight. For example, now this particular season, isn't it? So it will get it's a liquefaction leading to the kapha prakopa. And aswabhavika kapha prakopa without getting it the sanchaya avastha, maybe because of the ahara vihara, Ramla Lavana Rasa Sevana, Guru Snigdha Shita Ushna Sevana, Dugdha Ikta Ikshuvikara, all the Kafakara Ahara and Avyayama, Alasya and Divasopna like the Vihara, which will be leading to the further aggravation of the kapha here. Okay. leading to the kapha prakopa. So these are once again the different the karanas of the vata dosha prakopa and pitta dosha prakopa, as well as kapha dosha prakopa, ahara janya karana, vihara janya karana, and kala janya karana. And here so the what are the different prakopa lakshanas in the prakopa avastha. Okay, in case of vata prakopa, it is koshta toda, that means pain in the abdomen, and vata sancharana, that is increased movement of vata in the abdomen. Okay, and pitta prakopa, amlika, pipasa, paridaha, there will be sore eructation, pipasa excessive thirst, and paridaha generalized burning sensation. So all these things, when because PGs maybe might have having the experience, or even the patient will comes to you, how they will come, like no, the sore eructation. So even when you are sitting in the OPD, you can just listen to them. That particular the belching sound, you can so somebody you can understand. So the people have come with the amla pitta like symptoms, isn't it? So like such a intense sore eructation will be there. This is because of the person having the pitta prakriti and the person indulging in the same type of ahara vihara, and further the vitiation of the environmental factor also will be influence here. Okay, so when you understand this particular thing, definitely you can tell the patient. So because you can ask them, so you will see the prakriti of the patient. For example, amla pitta patient, prakriti of the patient, definitely he may be a, or she may be a pitta prakriti person, having the indulgence in the maybe they may not be having a regular food habits, they will be skipping the meals. And whenever they are getting, because this particular pitta prakriti persons will be having a very much, by 12:30 itself they will be having their appetite. So by that time only they have to take. If they skip again, it will have a bad effect on their digestive system, isn't it? So 1 or 2 days it will not be a problem, but when it will be continuously the same process goes on, no, so they will be having a vitiated doshas, as well as the dhatus also will include in this particular condition. Okay, and there will be paridaha, and the patient will be telling you by telling that I will be having burning sensation. So what you have to understand here is, in this particular condition, along with the dosha vitiation, slowly the dhatus also started now getting vitiated here. Okay, so now this is the particular time you have to understand, and you have to intervene here, maybe the modified diet or regimen, or with the treatment. So similarly, kapha prakopa lakshana, annadvesha and hridaya utklesha, already there will be, because it is urdhva amashaya, vitiation will be there in the kapha. So what will happen, they will be having a vomiting or a nausea sensation will be there. They may not be having the interest to take food. Okay, and they will be having that excessive salivation, feeling like vomiting sensation or nausea. So what happens next? So in this particular Kriya Kala, so you have to understand, along with the dosha vitiation, there will be the vitiation of the dhatus also. So you have to see the complete, understand the situation, and you have to give the diet regimen or the treatment in this particular avastha. Okay, so what happens next? So before going to the importance of this kriya kala, I just wanted to understand you. So we have come up to this sanchaya prakopa prasara. So usually what happens means, here there will be a natural remission of the dosha vitiation naturally. That is, for example, vata in its sanchaya in the grishma rutu, next prakopa in the varsha rutu, and it will have its remission in the next rutu, that is the sharad rutu. So if why I am telling means, that is the rutu kriya kala. Okay, so if at all the person of vata prakriti person doesn't stop his mithya ahara or the vihara, the further continuation of this will be leading to the disease. Okay, otherwise vata will have its natural remission in the next rutu. For example, the prakupita vata with the snigdha ushna guna in the sharat. So sharat will be having the snigdhata will be more in the sharad rutu, as well as the ushnata is also there in the sharad rutu. So naturally, the Snigdha and Ushna Guna of the Sharat will be having the natural remission of Vata Prashamana here. Okay. So similarly, Pitta. So Pitta will have its Prakopa in the Sharad Rutu. The next Rutu is the Hemanta Rutu. So in the Hemanta, what happens? The Manda Guna is more, the Shita Guna is there, or always there is an intake, or the Kashaya Rasa is also more in that particular Rutu. So all these things, as well as the Hemanta, there is a Shita Guna is also there, isn't it? So the Manda Guna, Shita Guna, as well as the what you can call the Shita and the Kashaya Rasa, all these things together, it will have its natural Prashama in the Hemanta Rutu. Similarly, Kapha which has got its Prakupita Avastha in the uh, Vasanta Rutu, it will have its natural remission in the Grishma Rutu, wherein in the Grishma there will be little more heat will be there, and what happens? The Ushna and Ruksha and Katurasa. Okay, so the Katurasa is more in the Grishma Rutu, wherein that particular Ushna, Ruksha, Katu together, it will have the natural remission of the Kapha. Okay, so what happens means in this particular condition, overall what happens means the whatever the Sanchya, wherein the Vriddhi in the Sthana, the Chaya or the Chayakarana Vidvesha is there, and the Viparita Gunecha you can see in the Sanchaya Avastha. In the Prakopa Avastha, you can see the Unmarga Gamana of the doshas, and even you can see some of the symptoms of the Prakopa, and even there is a chances of disease manifestation in this particular, because we have seen Amlika, Pipasa, Paridaha, Osha, Chosha, isn't it? So there is a chance of manifestation of dosha in the Prakopa Avastha, or even you can see some of the signs and symptoms in the Prakopa Avastha, and even the dosha starts its movement or the gati, isn't it? Unmarga Gamana of the dosha you can see in the Prakopa Avastha. But in the Prashama Avastha, what happens? The Vriddhi of the Sanchita doshas, the Prakopita doshas can come back to its normal state, return to its normal stage in the Prashama Avastha. Okay. And even there will be homeostasis of the doshas you can see, and even the free from the disease. Still in the Prakopa Avastha, you might have seen some of the signs and symptoms. All of a sudden, even without much treatment, then the next Rutu, there will be remission of the signs and symptoms you can see. And the patient will, even they will think, isn't it? Even we might have experienced, oh, now I am okay. Even with the same food habits, in the next Rutu, I'm okay means, so then that is the natural remission. That means in this Prashama Avastha, definitely the doshas in without any further indulgence in the the Mithyahara, Vihara, etc., there will be a natural remission or return to the normalcy, homeostasis of the doshas, and free from the disease you can see. Okay. So now this importance is the Prakopa, second stage of the disease process. And so here the chance to initiate the treatment. So here we have to initiate the treatment, and left untreated, it will go to the next stage. Okay. Sa eva prakupita doshaha samuttana visheshatah Sthanantarani cha prapya vikaran kurute pahun. So here, if it is untreated, spread to various locations, undergo sthana samshraya. So there, that's why we have to give more importance to this particular prakopa avastha. Okay. So next coming to the prasara avastha. So this is the third stage, that is the prasara avastha, where the stage of the spreading or the further progression of the prakupita doshas is called as the Prasaravastha. Okay. So here what happens? The spread of the doshas from their own side to other areas is called as the Prasaravastha. So here what happens means, here the doshas which are accumulated and aggravated in the Chayavastha as well as in the Prakopavastha. In the Chayavastha, the doshas got accumulated. In the Prakopavasthas, the doshas aggravated if not treated. In the presence of the further etiological factors, the doshas spill out from their own side and then spread throughout the body. So this is called as the prasaravastha. So that is why he is telling tesham ebihi atanka visheshaihi prakupitanam kinva udaka pishta samavaya iva udriktanam prasaro bhavati. With the continued nidana, as I told you now, the dosha undergo further vitiation and prasara stage, that is the prasara stage, where they start moving to the other places, the spillage of the dosha will start happening. be there, or overflow of a mixture of quinoa or a yeast, udaka or water, or pishta or the flour because of the fermentation. So this is what he is telling here. So actually what happens in the Chaya and Prakopa Avastha, these are limited to their own sides, right? That is in the Koshta itself. But in the presence of continuous etiological factors like the Vyayama, Ushna, Tikshna Ahara or Ahita Ahara, and because of the Chala Guna of Vata. When I tell these things, you may be remembering one thing, that is the Koshtas. Because of, from the Koshtas, the doshas are now moving towards the Shakha. That means the Shakhadi Gamana of the dosha starts now in this Prasaravastha. Okay, that's why it is very clearly mentioned that the quotation Shakadi Gamana, you may be remembering, that is Vyayamat Ushmanat Taikshniyat Hitasya Anavacharnat Koshtat Shaka Malayanti Drutatvat Marutasya cha. So that means in the further indulgence of the Nidhana, like Vyayama, Ushmana, Tikshna, intake of food, or even Hitasya Anavacharnat, like the practice of Nityahara Vihara. Koshtat Shakha Malayanti, from the Koshta, the actually from its own residence, the Koshta, it will leave its own place and it will go to the Shaka, Dhrutatvat Marutaticha, because of the, here the culprit is Vata. Okay, so because of that, it will enter into the Shaka like Rasa, Rakta, Mamsa, Medha, Asti, Majja, Shukra, etc. So Samastaha, Shonita Sahitaha Prasaranti. So how it will go means, along with the other doshas like even Rakta also. Okay, so here he is telling, so why it means, once again I just wanted to tell you, Vayu Gatimatvat Prasarana Hetu Sahi Rajo Bhuhishtaha. That's what I told you, because of Dhrutatvat Marutasya. So here Vata is the prime factor in the process of Prasara movement, Prasara or the movement, as it is having Chalaguna. Vata is Rajo Guna Pradhana and Rajas is Pravartaka or initiator of for all. Okay, and how it occurs. So here he tells very clearly once again, Yata Mahan Udaka Sanchayo Ativruddhaha Setum Avadharya Aparena Udakena Vyamishraha Sarvataha Pradhavati Esham Doshaha Kadachit Ekasho Dvishaha Samastaha Shonita Sahitava Anekadha Prasaranti. So now very clearly he is mentioning how a particular water flow, which will be along, which will with the accumulated excessive water, for example the flood in the rainy season, isn't it? A very small the a nadi which is flowing normally with the varsha rutu, what happens because of the excessive waterfall like this, so isn't it? So it will setum avadharya, it will just broke the or break the setu or the bridge, and it will flow flow heavily, isn't it? So this is what happens in the case of the dosha, also in the case of prakopa to prasara. So the prakopita doshas, because of the excessive accumulation or the excessive quantitative and qualitative accumulation, what happens, it will just come out, or the vimarga gamana happens here. So it will go and it will reach the other sthanas here. Okay, in the form of, it may be in the form of the 15 combinations of doshas here they are mentioning. A single dosha like 4 vata pitta kapha etc. In the combination of two doshas or the dandvaja, like there are 6 such a combinations like vata pitta vata kapha etc. And the combination of 3 doshas may be also, there are 4 such combinations, vata pitta kapha, vata pitta rakta like, and in the combination maybe along with the vata pitta kapha and rakta, that also may happen. So there this particular spreading stage of spreading will have a different combination of doshas. Maximum 15 such combinations may happen. Okay, so what happens here, the doshas in such condition, whenever it moves from the body here, it will enter into uh, the different areas of the body wherever there is kavai gunya. So where it will stop and starts the uh, this manifestation. So he's telling Krishne Ardhe Avayaveva Api Yatra Ange Kupite Vrasham Dosho Vikaram Nabhasi Megavat Tatra Varshati. During the process of Prasara, dosha move to one particular place in the body or to half of the body or to the whole body. dosha gets settled at those places where there is tushti, that is kavaigunya, leading to the diseases at that particular place. So this settlement happens similar to the Nabasi Mekavat Tatra Vashati, the clouds getting accumulated at a particular location in the sky and it rains. So once again, to conclude, aggravated dosha move all over the body and manifest the disease wherever they struck. And that is the whole body, half portion or the entire part of the body also, like the cloud rains in the sky wherever it stops. Okay. So for example, in this particular prasaravastha, it will have its urdhvagati, adhogati or the thiryagati of the doshas will be there. In the urdhvagati, there may be some manifestation of the diseases like chardi or some of the uh, indriya pradoshija or the indriya disorders will be there, shwasa, kasa, etc. In the adhogati, it may have the atisara, shlipada, sandivata, etc. And in the thiryagati, maybe sometimes the skin conditions or some of the other manifestations like the hypertension, etc. Okay. So the different lakshanas of the prasaravastha, what happens? Evam prakupitanam prasaratam vayur vimarga gamana atopa osha chosha paridaha dhumayanani. That is, Vayu will have its vimarga gamana and atopa. The pitta will have osha chosha paridaha dhumayana. Kapha will have its arochaka, avipaka, angasada and chardi. Okay. So these are the different manifestations. So here this particular stage is also called as the what you can call the there will be the still more the dosha dosha sammurchana. Okay, so without, so just before going to the dosha dosha sammurchana, this particular stage of prasara happens, wherein here also there is involvement of dhatus. Furthermore, along with the dosha, here the dhatus also started getting affected here. Okay, so this is just before the stage of dosha dosha sammurchana. So vata will have its Vimargamana and Atopa stage and Osha, Chosha, Paridaha, etc. by the Pitta and like Humayana, etc. and Kapha having Arochaka, Avipaka and Angasada, Chardi, etc. So just for your understanding, what is the difference between a Prakopa and Prasara? So you can see the figure here. After heating ghee, it melts and it is the Prakopa. Just started melting now. That is the Prakopa stage. So before that, you will keep the ghee piece in the or the solidified ghee in the pan. So that is just it is fit to the pan itself. Now once you start heating, what happens? It's slowly starting now melting. Okay. So now still it is in the same pan itself. Okay. So but further heating of this particular ghee will start now boiling and it will come out. So this is what how the Snchya, Prakopa and Prasara you can understand here. Okay. The same thing also will happens in our body with the further indulgence of the Ahara Vihara, especially the Mithya Ahara Vihara, leads to the vitiation of the doshas, and the doshas will leave their place from their own sthana and it will go move, further in spread all over the body. Wherever it see the kavai gunya or weakness, there it will go and settle and manifest the disease. Okay, so that is what I told you previously. That means here in this particular stage, the doshas with the further etiological factors enters into the shaka gamana of the doshas. Okay, so vyayama dushmana taishnya hitasya anavacharana poshtat shaka malayanti. So in this particular stage, what you have to do, why, what is your importance here? When the patient comes with a different signs and symptoms, you have to understand now it is not the avastha of chaya, it is not prakopa, now it is the prasara avastha. That means it is entered into the third kriya kala, right? So what is now, the doshas are not in the koshta. This is very important. Now you have to understand the doshas are now in the shaka, right? So shaka means definitely there will be some of the signs and symptoms you can understand. Okay, so what you have to do, your the thing is now you have to bring back the doshas from the shaka to the koshta. So for that purpose, there is a the quotation says like this: dosha yanti tata tebhyah shroto mukha vishodhanat vidya vishya abhishandanat pakat vayosha nigrahat. Okay, so this is how this is what you have to do in this particular stage. That means, so here your aim is to bring back the dosha from the shaka to the koshta. For that purpose, he is telling dosha yanti tata tebhya shrotomukha vishodhana. That means you have to do the shroto now because of the aggravated doshas in the prasaravastha. Now all the channels have got blocked. It is already settled in the shaka and now it is unable to come back because of the shroto avarodha. So the first and foremost thing what you have to do is shroto mukha vishodhanat. So that's why here it comes. So first what you have to do, vriddhihi vishyandanat pakat koshtam vayoscha nigrahat. So by doing this shroto mukha vishodhana, before that what you have to do is vriddhi of the doshas. By still more you have to increase the dosha by giving no, what you can call the similar quantity of diet or the regimen or whatever needed. Vriddhi here means so pramana atirekaha. So what you have to do, vridya vishyandanat pakat he is telling. Okay, so you have to do the vriddhi of the doshas. That means you have to, for example, pitta means you have to still feed with still more katu ushna ahara vihara so that the vriddhi of the doshas will happen. Then Vishyandana, then there is a Dravi Bhavaha. Okay, Vishyandana means here Dravi Bhavaha. Okay, first you have to increase the doshas, then you have to eliminate it. So Dravatva here, once you increase the vriddhi or the quantitative increase of the doshas, then you have to give some of the heat. So for this, I can tell you, before giving the Shodhana treatment, we will make the vriddhi of the doshas by giving the snehapana, right? With the snehapana, there will be dosha utklesha will be there, right? And even, for example, I can tell you there was a patient of Vicharsika admitted just a day before yesterday in the ward. Okay, so what happens there? The patient was having this problem since many years, and he was having in particular the lower limbs. He was having the problem. So once he got admitted in the hospital, why I started with the Snehapana. So while giving Snehapana with the second, third day now today, second day itself he started getting the eruptions even in the other parts of the body also. Now what we have to tell the patient? So patient now he will be in a confusion, isn't it? So I was having only little, like in the only in the lower parts of my body, I was having some of the lesions. Now in the whole body it is coming. So it is a good, not a good treatment. Like so, this is what commonly a layman will be understanding. Now, what is your part? You know that you are doing the dosha utklesha. So you have to tell the patient. So even prior only, if you tell that is well and good, so that they will be convinced. So that means when you do the dosha utklesha, whatever is there inside, it will come out, isn't it? So exactly that is what happened with the 2 days of Slehapana. Okay. Now you are doing the dosha utklesha, and after the dosha utklesha, what you will do? You will go for the external abhyanga and the svedana. That means you are doing the vishyantana or the dravi bhava of the doshas. So it will whatever the adhered doshas or the which is in the adhered to the cells deep in the dhatus, it will be taken away with the or it will be the mrudukarana will be done by the snehana, and with your svetana you will be doing the vishyandana or the liquefaction of the dosha so that it is easy to come to the koshta, isn't it? So that is what happens here. Vriddhi, first increase the doshas and then coming to the liquefaction of the dosha, then shrotomukha vishodhana. Shrotas now with the with the svedana, the shrotomukha vishodhana will happen. And one more thing important is vata nigraha. This is because of as a culprit the vata is only the cause for the shaka gamana. Now here also you have to take care of vata at the same time because you are giving the ghee here or the taila here. Vata shamana will be there, and there will be dosha vriddhi, dosha utklesha you are doing, and shrotomukha vishodhana with your svetana effect. So all these things vata will be in the control, and you are taking the or bringing back the doshas, vitiated doshas from the its normalcy and to the koshta. So this is what happens in case of this is what your part in the prasaravastha. Okay, hope I am clear here. Okay, and coming to the fourth stage, that is Tana Samshaya Avastha. Uh, what happens here? This is the first stage wherein the doshas which are in the prasaravastha, if not treated, take the sthana samshraya. So the sthana samshraya may be due to the sangha or obstruction, or it is because of the kavaigunya or the abnormality in the shrotas. So what happens here? The doshas, when once gets the sthana samshraya, vitiate one or a group of doshas, that is dhatus or malas. Once again, I repeat, whenever the sthana samshraya happens, there may be chances of sangha, obstruction, or the kavaigunya, abnormality of the shrotas. Okay, so wherever the abnormality is there, the doshas will go and lodge and manifest the disease, isn't it? So once the doshas gets the sthana samshraya, it may vitiate one or a group of doshas, dhatus or malas. So this vitiation of the doshas is called as the dosha samorchana. That is what I told. That's what I told previously. The prasaravastha is the stage just before the dosha samorchana. So the actual the disease or the samprapti starts here in this particular condition. That is the dosha samorchana. So what happens here when once the dosha samorchana take place, different pathological conditions are created in accordance to the involved dosha and sthana. Okay, so whenever the dosha starts getting or lodges in the udara pradesha, there may be dosha samorchana in the udara. There may be like gulma, agni vikara, vibandha, anaha, visuchika, etc. Okay, so whenever it is in the basti, there may be prameha, mutraghata, ashmari, etc. Whenever it is in the guda, like the bhagandhara, arsha, so that means the here the sthana is very important. The involved doshas and the doshas are very much important in production of the different types of vyadhi. Okay, so this particular stage is that is the fourth kriya kala. It is also called as the stage of purva rupavastha. That means the actual disease starts manifest here. Some of the prodromal symptoms or the purva rupa you can see here. Okay, so the intensity of these purva rupas depends upon the severity of the doshic vitiation. Okay, if the dosha vitiation is so strong, then you can see the intensity of the purva rupa is very strong also. And that means the if the vitiating doshas are very strong, then the clear cut prodromal symptoms may be observed. Or if the vitiated doshas are weak, then the mild symptoms may be observed. Okay, so the intensity of prodromal symptoms helps in the assessment of the severity of the disease. Okay, for example, you may be knowing even the purva rupa is also there are two type like vishesha purva rupa and samanya purva rupa. For example, in case of jvara also we know that there are shrama, arati, vivaranatva, etc. as a samanya purva rupa, wherein the vishishta purva rupa wherever the jramba is in vataja jvara, nayana daha in pittaja jvara, aruchi in kafaja jvara, etc. So that means this particular stage will give you a very very important clue. What type of clue means that is one type, which type of disease is going to happen, and what is the predominance of dosha here. Okay, so the signs and symptoms of other the disease will give you a clue of the dosha, I mean dosha as well, or the mala involvement, and the particular type of symptoms will also give you a clue of which particular dosha is having predominant here. Okay, so coming to this sthana samshraya avastha, he is telling chaturtha kriya kala iti chaturtha chikitsavasarah chikitsa cha atra doshasya doshatya chet upayasya. So this is very important. The Dalhana very clearly chikitsa cha atra doshasya doshatya cheti ubhayashritaha. So here not only for the doshas but also for the doshas also, both dosha dosha both you have to give the treatment in this condition. Okay, so he's telling evam prakupitanam tanschan sharira pradeshan agamya tamstan vyadin janayanti. So now the localization of the or the what you can call the doshas will spread all over the body. Wherever the kavaigunya is there they get accumulated and produce the disease. Okay, so as we know, kupitanam hi doshanam sharire paridhavatam yatra sangha kavagunyat vyadis tatropajayate. The same quotation whatever I have explained previously. And sthana samshrayinaha krudhva bhavi vyadi pratibodhakameva doshaha kurvanti yallingam purva rupa taduchyate. So this particular condition or the stage of kriya kala will tell you the bhavi vyadhi or the future, what is the disease which is going to manifest. Okay, so this is very important stage. At least in this particular stage, you understand that this particular disease we can stop. For example, as I told you, the giving the example of Vicharchika, isn't it? So because this is the season for aggravation of the skin diseases. Okay, so in this the environment also is same. The person is also Vata Prakriti. I mean, sorry, Kapha Prakriti, and the indulgence in the same Ahara Vihara, because the person was a contractor, he goes outside, takes outside food continuously outside environment with the the exposure to the sunlight, as well as the different uh, the environmental raja, or the different exposure to the chemicals and the other things. So that is what happens to that particular person. Okay, so that means now we have to understand it, this particular stage we have to go for certain type of treatment. So here the treatment is very much essential, because dosha as well as dosha both are having its main affection here. Okay, and next is the Vyakta Kriya Kala, wherein this is the Dosha Dushya Samurchana stage. If not treated in this particular Pura Rupa Avastha, in the presence of further etiological factors, the doshas become stronger and stronger and manifest the disease, and manifest in its full form, or fully blown disease will be manifested. This is the fifth Kriya Kala, which is also called as the Vyaktavastha or the Rupavastha. Here the fully blown disease, you can see manifestation of the disease takes place in its complete form. Okay, so Panchama Kriya Kala, Ata Urdhvam Vyadesh Darshanam. So here Vyadir Darshana, complete or the fully blown Rupa or the symptoms of disease you can see here. Okay. So in this Vyakriyakala, so what you can see is like a shofar, Buddha Granthi, Vidrudi, Visarpa, Adina, Pravyakta Lakshanata, Jvara Atisara Pravritinam Cha. So there is a, the different form of diseases have mentioned here, the shofar, Buddha Granthi, Vidrudi, Visarpa, etc. Okay. So this will have it, because here the person also not stopped indulging in the Mityahara Vihara, and it was not treated properly. So it has attained the Vyaktavastha or the Rupavastha, or the complete disease manifestation. And next is the Veda Kriya Kala, the sixth stage of Kriya Kala. Okay. So in this Kriya Kala, the inflammatory or the will be the there will be means the rupture of the disease, or what you can the this particular Kriya Kala, wherein we are not at all treated. So in further indulgence of the doshas, it is not now in our hand, isn't it? So this is the complication stage, or the chronicity of the doshas, or development of complication will happen here. For example, the Jwara will become the Jirna Jwara here. The Jwara in the Karna Jwara itself, or the stage itself, we have to treat it. That means within 7 days, somehow with the Patya Ahara or Patya Vihara, or with the treatment or some of the intervention, we have to treat the Jwara within 7 days. Once it exceeds 10 days, means it will become Jirna Jwara. In that particular condition, it is difficult to treat, isn't it? Similarly, ulceration to Vidhrati. So, for example, why ulceration specifically mentioned here means, so this particular Kriya Kala has been mentioned by Shushruta in the Vrana Prashna Adhyaya. So, how a small Vrana, because of the vitiation of the doshas, may be Nija or Agantu, how it will be blown into a complete ulcer form, okay, or in a complicated manner. That is why in this particular Vrana Prashna Adhyaya itself, Shishruta has mentioned this particular Kriya Kala. Okay, Ata Urdhvam Etesham Avadirnanam Vranabhavanam Apannanam Shashtaha Kriya Kalaha Jvara Atisara Pravrati Dinam Cha Dirghakala Anubandha Tatra Pratikriyamano Asadhyatamam Upayanti. So here in this is a complicated stage, isn't it? So what happens in this particular stage? See the vrana over there. It's a maybe a diabetic foot, isn't it? So here what happens? You have to cut the organ there itself, or other maybe an ankle amputation may be needed. Otherwise, you may have to leave the whole limb, isn't it? So that is what the complication we tell. So that means the particular affected part will be completely under the influence of the disease. So in that, but this is the complicative stage. Okay. So so completed the 4, 6 here. I think, hope I'm clear, or I have not made you more complicated. Uh, Doctor Senya, anybody is there? Anybody is there? Is it clear, or you have any doubt here before moving to the next slides? Is it clear? Anybody? Are you there or sleeping or taking food? Anybody can give me a hint? Are you there? Any students? Any doubt? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. I don't know who are the students here. Anyway, thank you for the patient listening with me. So coming to this particular of Akala. So just listen carefully. Uh, the treatment is easier if the disease is diagnosed in the earlier stages. That is what I was telling all this in my presentation. When the doshas are controlled in the Sanchaya stage of Kriyakala, they cannot proceed further into the consequent stage of Kriyakalas. However, if the doshas are ignored, they will proceed further, will be more strong and deep rooted, and there will be resistance to the Kriyakala. Therefore, all the 6 stages of Kriyakala require action by a physician in the form of treatment. So these 6 stages are called as the 6 stages of action. Okay, and it have the correlation with the Panchanidana like Sanchaya, Prakopa, Prasara with its Hetu stage, Sthana Samshraya, and with the Purarupa, Vyakti, and Veda, and with the Rupa and Upashaya and all the 6 Kriyakala Samprapti. Okay. and it gives an idea about the sadhya asadhya or prognosis of the disease. And kriya kala also helps to find out the appropriate time for doing surgery or shastra sadhya disease, etc. Okay, and timely intervention with appropriate aushadha pathya vyayama for the same will be helpful whenever we understand this particular kriya kala. Okay, so both the short term and long term complications can be effectively managed in the and prevented by breaking the various pathological stages in this particular condition when we understand it properly. And just I wanted to tell you the concept of Kriya Kala in one or two diseases. So the concept of Shat Kriya Kala is applicable for almost all the disorders, including the diabetes or rheumatoid arthritis, and even leprosy, etc. However, it is used in the diagnosis and treatment of cancer also in its early stage, because cancer is one such a disease wherein we diagnose or even the patient come to know in the end stage. Any other thing, because previously even the diabetes also was like that, but nowadays there is so many other measures to understand or to diagnose, isn't it? Various different types of the laboratory measures are there to understand the different stages. But in case of cancer, it will take a long run to have its full blown symptoms to show. By the time it will have its complete spread all over the body. That is a tragedy in cancer. Okay, but whenever we know this particular Kriya Kala, can we do something in this particular aspect? So, for that purpose, this is a very important point wherein in the modern medical science also the diagnosis of cancer is only possible at the stage of manifestation or the stage of complication, resulting in the challenging treatments like chemotherapy, radiotherapy, or the other surgery, etc. But in case of cancer, in Ayurveda, whether can we understand this particular understanding the Shatkriya Kala, so which may lead to more effective and less complex lines of treatment. So the various phases we can understand like this. So imbalance in Tridosha, that means the Vata Pitta Kapha, can be correlated with the imbalance in the ratio of the oxidant and the antioxidant molecules or the radicals in the cells. So the first stage of Shatkriya Kala, called Snchya, may be represent the level of oxidative stress, which damages the cell structure and its functions. Such phenomena may induce somatic mutations and neoplastic transformation in the cells. So this is in the baseline. So the basic thing is like no, that means each and every cell is very important. So with the baseline cell, the changes happens here. So the sanchaya starts. That means because of the oxidative stress. Okay. So for example, I'll tell you, whenever we are under stress, our whole body will become the acidic media. Actually, to have a very good health, we our body, we also always we should maintain a alkaline media. Okay, in an alkaline media, the especially the cancer cells like the giant cells will not have its chance to thrive. Okay, that is why always alkaline media we should maintain our body in an alkaline media. So what happens in any conditions of stress, some other the because of the food habits or other environmental factors or some other regimen, etc., what happens, we ourselves will keeping our body into the this particular oxidative stress or the what you can call that the acidic media. Okay, so with this what happens that it damages the cell structure and its function. So such phenomena may induce the somatic mutations and the neoplastic transformations in the cells. Okay, so so this particular thing we have to make the means give we give awareness to the people. So this is possible to prevent the cancer. Okay, and one more thing, by understanding ourselves, we should not be into a stressful situation always. Of course, we are all human beings. We will have our own stress factors, maybe at home or in the society or in the institution or with any other such things, isn't it? So the life will be having so many events. So, but still, one stage we have to understand that the stressful life will always put into a very difficult situation. Okay. So, next step is, however, Prakopa stage has unusual cell proliferation due to oxidative stress, which may have increased DNA mutations or induced DNA damage and genome instability. So, this is when certainly when they expose to the certain chemical factors or X radiations or some the food habits, etc., will be leading to the mutation of particular cells. Okay, so this also we can make out because those who are especially working in such areas, we can give some of the clue. Okay, or they have to undergo certain biomarkers or etc., or even with the very small slight symptoms also they should approach the doctors, or even sometimes within us only we have to understand these things. And the stage of prasara can be correlated with the cell migration, as a oxidative stress can augment the tumor growth. So what happens in this particular condition means, once the cell division starts, the excessive proliferation starts, so it will be slowly what happens, it will be within the site usually. Okay, so within the site, then we call it as a primary tumor without having its spread to the other part of the body. So that is, we call it as the primary growth of the tumor, where we call it as, that is the stage 1, wherein it is a purely, we call it as, it is a stage wherein we can treat the cancer. But what happens with the further indulgence or the further proliferation of the cells? Slowly it starts its second, third, and fourth stage, wherein now the fourth stage it will moving from its own side to other parts of the body. That is what we call it as the what you can call it as the metastasis stage. Okay, so wherein from, for example, the primary organ may be lung, but from the lungs, when it goes to the liver or to the bone, we call it as, it is now stage 4, or now the particular condition is having its metastasis in the liver or the bone. So this is an incurable stage. So that means once we understand, or the different type of the stages of cancer, one thing is we can give awareness to the people. So this is the symptoms when the cancer is there in this particular organ, or when it is and we have to come early to get the treatment, etc. So the physician is very important here, physician's role, wherein he has to find out it in the early stage itself. Okay, otherwise it will have its spread towards the other areas of the body. So, due to various other factors like the doshas in the body undergo vitiation of morbid changes, which initiate the process of disease manifestation. And it is clear from the description that the various stages changes involved in the disease manifestation process takes place in the distinct steps, as the vague symptomatologies are expressed in the early stages of the disease manifestation procedure. It is necessary for the individual that he or she should aware of the changes occurring in the body. So a good knowledge of concept of kriya kala is very essential for early recognition of the disease procedure. So why this is important means, not only the physician, as a ayurveda faculty or a learned person of ayurveda, the each and every the stage of the disease or the a very minute change in the body will be bring to the notice of the physician. That is more important, such a awareness to be given to the patient. Okay, so if the deranged doshas are left unrecognized and untreated, they will gain the strength for their further development, and the disease manifested in a particular stage of Kriya Kala may even precipitate some other diseases in the name of Nidanarthakara Rogas, or which is left, if it is left untreated or ignored. Okay. So coming to a particular disease like a Staulia, I just wanted to tell one more important example here. For example, Staulia. So this Staulia you might have seen in the, you can see the figure here. So from the normalcy to the Staulia Avastha. Okay. So that the change is a process. It is not an event. That means from the normalcy to attain the Staulya Avastha, it is just not an event. It is not happens in one day. So it is just a process taken place since long time. Okay. So we can see here the different the person will be indulging in different activities like no the divasopana, shleshmakara ahara viharas, adhyashana you can see here, isn't it? And the avyayama, sitting in one particular place and doing the things, etc., isn't it? So that means the sedentary lifestyle will be leading to the different pathological stages wherein nidana sevana leading to the kapha sanchaya, and then Anganam, Gaurava, Alasya, everything will slowly start here. Then further indulgence in the Kafakara, Ahara, Vihara, leading to the aggravation of Kapha along with the production of Ama Annarasa, and then leads to the Kapha Vriddhi. So the next again indulgence in the continuous of indulgence in the Nidana Sevana, leading to the Shleshma Prakopa. Once again, Vriddhi of the Medho Dhatu, Sangha in the Medho Vaha Shrotas, Vata Prakopa and in turn Jataragni, Sandukshana, and you know the Samprapti of this particular Staulya very well. Whenever the person is having, there is actually obstruction to the Amashya will be there. So because of the obstruction, here the Vata Vriddhi will be there. In turn, the Vata Prakopa will leads to the intense Jataragni. Okay, so Jataragni Sandukshana will be there. Once again, the person will be taking more and more food. Ati Bubukshana, in turn, Medo Dhatu Vriddhi will be there. Okay, so what happens in the Sthana Samshaya Avastha of Staulya? So the Dosha Samurchana takes place at this stage. The Kapha Samurchana takes place with the Medo Dhatu, leading to the prodromal symptoms like Guru Gatrata, Swedha, Abhada, then Ahastatva, then Tikshnagni, wherein the patient will be taking more and more food. Okay, so this is the Vyakta Avastha where you can see all the different conditions like no the patient you can he is having exhibiting all the symptoms. So this is the Vyakta Avastha here, wherein the Javoparoda, that means due to the Sharira Shitilata and the Sukumarata, Stula persons are Utsaha Rahita. So they will not be having Javoparoda. They cannot even move, or they will be having the laziness always. Okay, or they cannot even move their body as they want. And Kruchra Vyavayata, even the Shukra Marga Nirodha also, or the Avarana will be there. So even they may not be having a proper Vyavaya also. Then Daurbalya and Daurgandhya, because Daurgandhya, Swedhabada, both these together because of the excessive sweating, they will be having this particular problem. And Kshudati Matram, excessive hunger, and Pipasa Ati Yoga. So excessively, sometimes excessive water they will take, or even sometimes less, but why the more of the the craving for water and the food will be there. Okay, so this is the Veda Avastha. So where all the uh, different complication stage they will occur. So once there is a obesity or overweight, you know very well what are the different. So there will be manifestations, or they will be into risk like maybe a cardiovascular risk will be there, isn't it? Or even there may be neuromuscular risks, isn't it? Or even the different diseases like Kushta, Visarpa, Bhagandara, Jwara, Tisara, Prameha, Arsha, Shlipada, Apachi, Kamala, whatnot. So many different disease manifestations, they will be into risk. So the stage of differentiation of the different diseases will be there, or the Staulya Upadravas. Okay, so everything will be having Adhikata. So even in Ashtanga Hridaya also classifies there are three types of Staulya: Adhika Staulya, Madhya Staulya, and Hina Staulya. So all these different stages will be having their the different complicative stages. So conclusions, as I told previous slides, no. So we should by knowing this or understanding this, the different pathological stages It's very, very important to understand the, to have a proper intervention where and when required. And coming to the end of the presentation, so a quotation holds good here, which is Yatahi alpena yatnena chidyate tarunastaruhu sa eva ati pravruddhastu chidyate ati prayatnatah